Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Souls in Chat. This is episode 23, and I'm going to have to apologize to you guys right from the get-go because I made a massive blunder when I was recording this particular episode, which resulted in it having no commentary track whatsoever. So we have game audio, but we don't have the audio of me actually talking. Now, and I mentioned this in my community tab in YouTube, a lot of you guys asked that I would record a voiceover for this episode so that it wasn't lost in time. So that's essentially what I'm doing here. I'm voicing over this particular episode. And in case you guys are curious as to why this happened, it's because ever since we got the PlayStation 3, whenever I live stream onto YouTube, I live stream at 1440p because, you know, the PlayStation 3 outputs 4K. Unfortunately, I can't live stream at 4K because my computer is not powerful enough. I need to get an upgrade or something, but yeah, you know, trying to get an upgrade to your computer right around Christmas when you have to buy presents for everyone, that's not going to happen, basically. So it's going to take me a while to get an upgrade that's going to make the computer powerful enough to be able to output 4K. So for now, we're going to do 1440p. But anyway, since I was live streaming everything at 1440p, I was like, well, I might as well record the next episode of Souls in Chat at 1440p, considering that I'm also playing it on the PlayStation 5, even though it's going to basically be just a little bit of upscaling. You know, it still looks just a little bit better because you guys are like, well, you don't really gain any more detail. Yes, but when you upload at a higher resolution on YouTube, then YouTube allows you to have a little bit more bitrate. It basically allocates more resources to your video, makes it look a little bit nicer because the resolution is higher. So, you know, I always want to deliver to you guys the best possible resolution. That's why I recorded that way, and you know, because the recording settings were not the same, we ended up with a video that didn't really have any audio. But anyway, we're going to be going through what I would consider to be some of the most important scenes that happened throughout that episode, and I'll be commentating over those scenes because I'm not going to be able to replicate all of the banter that I do in a Souls in Chat in a post commentary type of way. It just doesn't work like that because there's different feelings that come from playing a game, despite the fact that some developers actually have this notion. It's like, if someone watches somebody else play my game, then they won't buy my game. It's like, no, dude. It's a very different thing to play a game and the emotions that it brings back to you than just watching a game. I'm not saying that it's one is better than the other. I'm saying that these are different things. And to me, personally, when I'm creating something, you know, the banter that naturally comes out when I'm actually playing the game is very different than if I'm just doing post commentary. So I edited what I would consider to be the most important parts of this episode, and I'm going to be playing them, and I'm going to be commentating over them and just talking about all of this stuff that we did throughout this episode. And because of that, the episode became shorter. So at the end of the episode, I will then record in real time the next portion of it to give you guys like a full-size episode. Otherwise it'd be like a 20-minute video, whatever, which is not the usual length of Souls in Chat. So let's get to it, shall we, gentlemen? So we were at the very start of the painted world of Ariamis, which, as I told you guys in the previous episode, is actually a level that the very first time that I played Dark Souls I didn't even come to, because, you know, that there's always those zones that if you play through Dark Souls and you don't look up any guides, there's always a potential for you to miss zones. Like, for those of you that are curious, when I was playing through Bloodborne for the very first time, I actually didn't go to Canehurst at all. Like, I basically finished the game and I didn't go to Canehurst. And you know, I think it's kind of cool when the developers are confident enough that they don't feel like we need to hold everybody's hand, make sure they see every little bit of content, blah, 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 blah. Like, I really like the fact that developers are confident enough that like players will enjoy what they've done, that they don't feel the need to guide players to that extent. That they're like, no, we got to make sure they see it because we know we spend resources on it. No, it's like, if the players care enough about your game, and trust me, players will go and find out everything that they possibly can about your game. They're not going to miss a zone if they care. And if they didn't care, then you probably don't want to force them to go through a zone anyway. You want to just like let them have whatever they have and let them leave. Like that's just the way it goes. So I'm always super happy that you know, From Software does these things where there's like secret zones and zones that are not on on the main road of the game, so to speak. Even though Painted World of Variamus is definitely not just in the main road, but there's actually a reference to it when you go back to the Northern Asylum. Even though you don't have to go back to the Northern Asylum, nothing really tells you that you have to go back. That's almost a secret in and of itself. But I find it interesting that I did make it back to the Northern Undead Asylum on my first playthrough. But then I never went to Ariamus, because like you get the doll that gives you entrance to Ariamus at the Northern Undead Asylum. So technically speaking, you know, if you go to the Northern Undead Asylum, then you get the clue that like, oh, you should probably go here. And yeah, that's kind of cool. But anyway, as we went through the Painted World of Variamus, eventually we got here. These are like one of the traditional enemies in Painted World of Variamus that are a little bit problematic, but due to the fact that, you know, our build's pretty much done, our axe is fully upgraded, we got a bunch of strength, and the only thing that we're really missing from the build right now is a little bit of vitality, because, you know, obviously I want to get 40 vitality. They're pretty much not a huge problem. Now here is the first shortcut that we do. This shortcut allows you to basically open this gate, and I'm not sure if that's actually an intended shortcut or if that's just like something that speedrunners did, and I kind of like started doing too, because it's just such a beast of a shortcut. But then I came back because I wanted to come here and pick up this item, and I was super surprised at the item that you actually get here, because usually in the original game, as far as I'm aware, the item that you get here is Dried Finger. Now, I didn't go back to check, but I'm like 99% sure that what you get here is the Dried Finger. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dried Finger is essentially an item that allows you to reset your hidden invasion timer. I don't know how they do invasions in Dark Souls Remastered. What's the deal with that? But yeah. Now, the reason I put these particular albino rats in here is because I think they do a different sound. I think they have a different sound to them in the remaster. They do like this, brr, brr, which normal rats don't do. I don't know if that is. I don't know if that is something that they changed on purpose to kind of differentiate them from the plague rats, the regular rats of Souls. But I thought it was interesting that they did a bit of a different noise. Here you get a good overview of what the thing looks like. And I actually noticed when I was editing this that I forgot to go to a location here. And that is a location that has the occult, what is it called? The occult ember, which allows you to power up your occult weapons, which you can basically, your weapons can go from divine, is it divine? They go from divine into like something higher in the divine tree, or they can go from divine into occult. And occult, I actually forgot what the scalings were. I think that divine has more base damage and less scaling, and occult has more scaling and less base damage. Not to mention that the divine weapons can actually kill the respawning undeads without necessarily, without allowing them to resurrect, because some of the respawning undeads, they kind of like resurrect. With a divine weapon, they wouldn't, like stuff in the catacombs and whatnot. Now, really cool thing about the Golem Axe for this particular section of the game, those of you that know anything about these little bloaty boys, is that basically if you do the special attack, it pushes them back. I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I don't actually need a ranged weapon, because those guys, if I remember correctly, like I didn't actually get the test, but if I remember correctly, those guys make you toxic whenever you pop them in melee. So being able to just push them away with the axe is really cool. So this is when you get the painting guardian set, which is in the Painted World of Ariamus. And I was just saying while I was picking up this thing that particular set always reminds me of the Snow Troopers when they do in Empire Strikes Back, when they go to Planet Hoth and they're invading the rebel base with those, you know, those different suits. That's what the Painted Guardian suit reminds me of. So here we're climbing up in the tower that's in the middle of Painted World of Ariamus. There's a bunch of these crow enemies, and I think it's very interesting that in Dark Souls 1, these creatures forget that they have wings if they happen to be falling. If they're falling when they're knocked back, they just forget, oh wait, I have wings, I can fly, and they just die. That's like, look, bye. Whee! Actually, that one, yep, it did die. I thought that one didn't die because there's one of them that falls over but doesn't die. But yeah, and the reason why you want to come up here is you get the red sign soapstone, and this allows you to like do duels and stuff, which with me usually doesn't get much use because I don't tend to do PvP. And then obviously I had to film this little mini boss fight that you have here against the big dragon. I think we still get the blood shield before the dragon gets a dime on us. No, never mind. He's gonna charge over, and he's actually a lot easier to kill in the remaster than he was back in the PlayStation 3 version, because the visuals for the poison breath that he does actually are significantly better, because like the hitbox for those visuals is not properly represented in the original game, in my opinion. And the whiff! The mega whiff, that basically always does like 2 attacks towards the same size, which gives you a lot of openings to go to one or the other side and just smack him in the mouth. I did comment that I really liked the visual detail that they added onto the poison thing in the remaster. I don't know if it looks like this with DS Fix on the Prepare to Die edition, but I don't think so. I think they added a couple of different particles to the little vomiting of poison that the dragon does. But yeah, it's overall it's a pretty easy fight. You just always get to back away and then come back and attack him again, and then you can get smacked around like that if you're not careful, because you know I'm doing high animation commitment attacks like the R2, which sure, it's reasonably fast, and I also wanted to check how much damage you could deal with a ranged attack, which is not that much. I would probably break my weapon before I was able to kill him, so I was like, nah, this is a waste of time. Let's just get in there, smack him. See how he does the little toxic thing? But yeah, in this version, not only I think it's better represented, I also think that the reach is smaller. Like, I felt like the reach in the original went much further than this. I could be wrong, of course, but that's what it felt like. This is actually one of the few dragon, not torsos. I guess these are the actual torsos. The other ones are just like dragon legs or whatever. This is actually one of the few dragon torsos that I don't mind fighting, because it's actually a proper fight. And here we picked up the blood shield, which I then talked about when we get later in the level. I'm sure a lot of you guys can imagine why we talked about it later in the level. And then here I was just explaining that if you come here and if you do a leaping attack, this thing actually gets up and opens up a massive shortcut for you to basically go to the final boss. But we're not going to the final boss yet, obviously, because I wanted to show you guys some more of the level. So this particular set of enemies always reminds me of the Phalanx in Demon Souls, which is it's rather adequate considering that we had a full playthrough of Demon Souls in between episodes of Souls in Chat. As a matter of fact, I kind of want to get back to Demon Souls, but I just had like this mental block that was telling me you can't start another Demon Souls run without finishing Souls in Chat. It's not right. You told people that you were going to finish this show, and god damn it, you're going to finish this show if you have to do it through like post commentary or whatever means necessary. You're going to finish this friggin' show. So yeah, I was just telling guys how much this reminds me of Phalanx, because I almost think that it's a reference to Phalanx in Demon Souls. There's also a very good mob if you need to like grind souls, because you can just come here, kill them super fast, and then go back and reset and kill them super fast again. Now you'll notice that at this point we have a lot more Estus flasks. It's because in between that jump cut, I went back and I max kindled the bonfire for this area to get a couple of more flasks, because having only 5 flasks here was pretty claustrophobic. I was already running out of flasks, and I was like, look, I just want to explore the rest of this area without having to hassle too much. And in this point, this is when you summon Jeremiah, and obviously I sang, Jeremiah was a bullfrog, was a good friend of mine. I never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine. It's tradition, okay? It's like the dirty rat thing. Whenever we kill Jeremiah, we have to sing Jeremiah was a bullfrog. It's a Souls tradition for me, pretty much. But yeah, he's got the equivalent of the old monk helm in Dark Souls, and he actually does some pretty beastly pyromancies, but I quickly realized that Golem Max just completely trivializes this fight because of this special attack. Like, look, what are you gonna do, Jeremiah? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You gonna throw a little pyromancy at me? It's like, you can just, at any point, you can just like slam him with it, boom. And then I do the ultimate BM, which is just like, bam, put you in the ground, Jeremiah. Now, if you kill Jeremiah before you leave this zone, you actually can basically get his set. And I'll show you guys at the end. Now, this zone this is one of the parts that I'm sure everybody wanted to see. This is the pit of death with all of the bone wheel skeletons. But to be honest, for a while that I've considered this to be a pretty easy part of Painted World, unless you come here while you're super under-leveled. Because if you do this zone right, kind of like the way that I'm doing it, I'm not saying it's the best way of doing it, but if you do it right, you can actually avoid most of them and not really have that many problems. You only get one of them at a time. So it's not really that problematic. But I did really like the ambience that you get in this zone. I'm not sure if this is only in the remaster, or if you can also see the bone wheel skeleton at the end with the light on top of him. I don't remember if you can see that one in the original, because I thought that it really set kind of like the mood for the zone. This very ominous enemy in the distance with the light shining on top of him. You can, if you go back and you just see at the very beginning, you can see that this guy, the light is shining right on top of him. You can see the bone wheel at the very end. And I thought that was very atmospheric. And again, I don't remember if it's like that in the final version or not, but. And then in here, there's the thing that turns the statue and opens the gate. Not that we had to do that, because, you know, we already opened up the path to the final boss of the area when we went through the bridge and we killed the dragon, and then we hit the little legs and got the legs to stand up. That already opens up the path for us to go through. This was just like a formality that I wanted to, like, you know, turn the statue. And you can see the entirety of the path right there. Now, there's another zone with a bunch of secret walls and a bunch of more dudes, but I didn't want it to do that. I just wanted to skip to I mean, I did that in the video. I mean, I didn't want it to just show you guys that, because it's just a maze down there, basically. It's a very short maze, but it's a maze. We came in here to get Velka's set, by the way. You guys saw us get the Velka set right from the moment that we actually got here. And then I went to this place. This is a very dangerous place. Like, a lot of players die here. As you can see, there's a lot of blood splatters because these two just kind of swoop in. And swooping is bad. Let me know if you get that reference. But yeah, these two kind of just like swoop in and usually wreck a lot of people. There's like a miracle here that you can get or whatever. I might have already picked it up by the time that I was recording this. But you get that miracle. Which is, I don't even remember what it does. You get that miracle, but they swoop in, and the thing about it is that if you actually have a bow, you can actually snipe them from the position that they're at. If I remember correctly, you can snipe them, and then they'll like come one at a time. But yeah, we're gonna skip a large section of the bridge, which is basically just a bunch of undeads. There's nothing that meaningful here, and we're gonna do the shortcut. I'm not entirely sure if this shortcut is intended because the animation is so unceremonious, right? The thing just like gets up, it's like good to go. But you know, back then the budgets were different, so who knows? I think From Software was still hedging their bets with Miyazaki with Dark Souls. They were still like, man, we gotta make sure that Demon Souls wasn't a fluke. And then Dark Souls came out and it's like super successful, which was friggin' amazing. But yeah. We killed the Baronique Knight here. I think I actually used to farm these for large Titanite shards back in the day because they have a high chance of dropping them. It was a pretty efficient way of farming large Titanite shards because at that point you can just homeward bone or just kill yourself and then come back and, you know, get your souls back. And here she is. Good old Fluffy Tail. Crossbreed Priscilla.
Who art thou? One of us thou art not. If thou hast misstepped into this world, plunge down from the plank and hurry home. If thou seekest I, thine desires shall be requited not.
Now, the cool thing, someone was saying, try strong poison. What is wrong with you people? The really cool thing about this particular boss.
Thou must returneth whence thou came. This land is peaceful, its inhabitants kind, but thou dost not belong. I beg of thee, plunge down from the plank and hurry home.
The really cool thing about this boss is that that weapon is the first boss weapon that I've ever made in Dark Souls. Because I was just upgrading a random item, and it suddenly gave me the option to make the Life Hunt Scythe. And I made the Life Hunt Scythe because, again, I knew that boss weapons existed, right? And I was upgrading an item in hopes of eventually getting to a boss weapon because I hadn't looked up any guides or anything. So Life Hunt Scythe was the first weapon that I made. And it's really cool because the description of the Life Hunt Scythe even says that, like, gods fear this weapon. And in here I was showing that when I played with the Life Hunt Scythe, I would use the Blood Shield because it's got a lot of bleed protection. It really increases your bleed resistance by a ton. And having Blood Shield would actually allow you to use Life Hunt Scythe effectively. Because for those of you that don't know, Life Hunt Scythe causes bleed. And bleed is not a dot like in Demon Souls. Like, bleed in this game is a burst of damage. So if you actually get bled, it's a pain. But it also has the I think it's the highest bleeding generation of any weapon in this. I know that there's also a knife. It's the knife that you get from her tail. Also has a lot of bleeding generation. As well, which the tail is actually fairly easy to chop in a build like the one that I have, because you can just like come in here, two hands, and then just chop. But I decided that I wasn't going to kill Priscilla, because I think a lot of you guys wouldn't want me to, so I just pat the fluffy tail, and I went on my merry way. Now, when we got here, I noticed that Jeremiah's corpse wasn't here, so basically I reloaded and I got the corpse, but apparently I forgot to show that in the video. But after that, I decided I was going to be naughty. And yeah, I destroyed the great chest of Anor Londo. Because I actually thought that killing Gwyndolin made Anor Londo dark. Like, guys remember when I talked about that? And if I hadn't killed Gwyndolin, I think that he would say a couple of words now, but because he's dead, he's got nothing to say. So we made Anor Londo dark. We basically turned off the lights in Anor Londo because I wanted to make sure that people see some of the stuff that can happen in Anor Londo if you actually do this. And it becomes almost like a completely different area. It even has different spawns, like these two that you're about to watch right here. These now show up in place of the two giant dad holy knights that were here before. And that little lady there with the friggin' Baldur's shield, yeah, she can parry like a mofo. Watch. Oof. Just straight up parried us. Then they were gonna wail on us something fierce. So I actually thought that this was I came a little bit close to biting it there because I was being greedy as hell. But then I was just like, come here, lady. Let me show you the power of axe. And I'm not talking about the deodorant spray either. But the Baronique Knight intervened, freaking stabbed me right in the mouth with that big ass sword from Black Iron Tarkus. Look at that. Look at him go. With the Black Iron Tarkus sword. That's actually I think that's the closest thing, because look, I'm not a big anime / manga guy, so I don't know what, I don't always remember exactly what Berserk sword looks like, but I think that's the closest thing that you get to the Berserk sword in a Souls game. It actually reminds me of this one interview that I did with Miyazaki once, where somebody asked, someone was asking Miyazaki, like, when are you finally going to do a Guts game? And I just turned around to the guy and I said, what do you mean? He's done 3 of them. Because it was an interview about Dark Souls 3. I was like, well, what do you mean? He's done 3 Guts games already? What are you talking about? No, but the guy was talking about with the actual franchise. I think Miyazaki said that he wouldn't want to do it. I think his answer was that he wouldn't want to do it because he wanted to, you know, that would mean that he wouldn't have as much creative freedom because he would have to like actually work around the character, and he likes having the creative freedom. But anyway, if you then move on to the elevator, you get the Darkling lady here, who's also upset about you turning off the lights in Anor Londo. She's like, why'd you turn off the lights? Go back and flip the breaker. Make it shiny again. And here I was trying to be super disrespectful and kick her off, but the game didn't let me. And I was like, okay, fine. I guess I'll just kill her then. You know, if you're not going to let me kick her off, I'll just kill her. Oof. Dude, Golemax is such a goddamn beast of a weapon. I can't believe I'd never done a playthrough with Golemax. It's very fun to just have that option of at any point, just like throw in the thing. Also, if you guys notice, there was actually like a summon sign there. But anyway, then we came to Great Hollow, which I said I was going to come to, and immediately after coming there, it's like, just die. And I was like, well, this is fine. You know, it's just the first death. So whatever. But yeah, I wanted to take you guys to the Ashen Hollow. Ashen Hollow? No. Ashen Lake, to the Ash Lake. And then I failed another jump. And died again. And this is why I don't like the Great Hollow. Because I actually forgot what the sequence was to jumping down. But then I eventually got the sequence down. And was able to go, because obviously I was going to be able to go down. I think you don't have to roll here. And it's also a combination of like when I used to play in PC on the Prepare to Die edition, I had to swap between 30 frames, 60 frames, and it was a pain. But yeah, then we came to the Ash Lake. You guys can see there's a Hydra there. Now I decided I didn't want it to fight the Hydra because that's kind of boring. You know, we fought a Hydra already. This is the same thing. She just has more health, which in a way actually makes her easier. But we came to this bonfire because I wanted to tell you guys about how this is where the Onion Bro quest was supposed to end, right? He would show up dead in here, and then Sieglind would be here. She would have found the corpse of her father. It's a very tragic end. I remember the first time I did that quest line, I was like, holy crap. I was just surprised to see how it all kind of like turned out. But yeah, and then in here I was like, okay guys, I'm gonna show you something real cool. I wonder if there's anyone that plays Souls that hasn't seen this thing yet, but it is a pretty impressive thing. We didn't really do the completionist thing in this area, I'll tell you guys right now, because it's a very interesting area to come to. It's not necessarily a super interesting area to navigate. Because like in this area you get to see all of the arch trees, which are like super important for lore and whatnot. You actually see these arch trees in Dark Souls 2 as well, I think, if I remember correctly. And then in here, watch what happens when we get close to that skull right there. Ooh, the Hydra submerged. What could that possibly mean? Yeet! The first time I saw this, like this on PS3 would like almost make your system explode when she does this. Like the frame rate just tanks completely. But I thought it looked impressive as hell the first time I saw her. It's like, and then obviously we went further down the path so that I could show you guys where the great dragon was, or the great dragon is, or the last living dragons in Dark Souls. It's actually really cool the first time you come here and you see his wings open up. It's very impressive, but he's a pretty chill dude. In fact, he's so chill that he lets you just go behind him, chop his tail, doesn't even become hostile, doesn't even acknowledge the fact that you just went there and chopped his tail. So like you can totally just sneak up behind him and be like, not even sneak up, just walk behind him and be like, I want your tail. And you get a dragon greatsword if you do it. And you can still enter a covenant with the dragon, which by the way, this is the covenant that me and Pallytime joined when we did the New Game Plus 7 playthrough. We were both dragons, the double dragon playthrough. But anyway, I guess we will continue Souls and Chat now in a more traditional fashion as we head towards the Kiln of the First Flame. And now, in a much more traditional way, when it comes to Souls in Chat, we head towards the Kiln of the First Flame, where our final trial awaits us. And hopefully, we'll get to see an old friend, if I've played my cards right throughout this playthrough. Oof. I always like coming back down to the Kiln of the First Flame because you can just like drop from a massive height, just land that little puddle there. Curious to see what it looks like in the remaster. Not like anything's looked terribly different, but just like I'm curious to see what it looks like now. Bunch of people dying here, probably trying to do the glitch or something.
Beef jerky fingers.
Guys, what if I die to Gwyn? I mean, I might, because I don't remember the parry timing for him at all. It's been far too long. We're probably going to get invaded, because in order to meet up with an old friend, we're going to have to reverse hollowing. Oh, we get 20 Essus flasks here, though. That's nice. Alright. Let's go inside. This section was always so weird to me, how it's just like everything's just white. You can see all of the knights that burned. Oh, they have a little bit more detail in the remastered for sure. Yeah, they've got more detail. In the original one, if I remember, they're just like specters. I mean, they're still just specters here, but you can see their armor in more detail. Wait, you only see the first wave? You don't see any more of them? Really? Look, they stopped. Oh no, there. Here comes another one. Like, I wanted to look at his armor in greater detail. They actually have like reflections and stuff, which they didn't have in the original, but I don't remember if they had this amount of detail in the original or not. It's pretty cool. This is also the place where Pally Time wanted to duel me and then beat the crap out of me. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair because I was playing Ornstein. No, I was playing Smo, he was playing Ornstein. I don't remember exactly how he did me in, but he did me in. He did me in dirty. This is also a good place to come to if you need to like farm the Black Knight weapons. Oh, it's gonna take more than a backstab to kill them? I'm legitimately surprised. It's fairly easy. Ooh. Black Knight sword and a chunk. It's fairly easy to run past this part. There's a couple of tricky sections, but you can basically run past all of them. So the run back to Gwyn is actually fairly easy. It's just a little bit lengthy. And I remember I've actually had playthroughs where I was stuck in here for a while. Chonk. Chonk. And a Black Knight greatsword. What else we got? And there's the full Black Knight armor set that is in here. I don't know. Does it include the shield? Yeah, I think it does include the shield, which is a really good shield. But personally, as you guys know, when it comes to shields, when it comes to like meta shields, because the shield that I'm using, I would not consider it to be meta at all. When it comes to meta shields, one of the ones that I like the most is actually the Silver Knight one. Oh, this guy aggro's all the way from over there. Gotta be careful, don't want to fall off. Bye-bye. I told him to be careful, he didn't listen. This is the full Black Knight armor set. Dude, you guys are not gonna believe me, but my height thing is so bad that even just like walking near these, Like, you know how there's those games that kind of give you the invisible railings that don't let you fall off from big heights like this? This game doesn't do that, and that's one of the reasons why I always get super scared, because like you can just fall and die in one go. And here's our friend. You only get to summon him here if he doesn't go insane. If he goes insane, you don't get to summon him for this section of the game. And to be honest, if it's like the original, which I don't think it will be, because they've buffed Solaire, at least in previous encounters, they've buffed him significantly. But in the original, he basically just makes Gwyn harder. Like, that's it. And like, you'll be lucky if he survives all the way to actually get inside the Gwyn encounter. That's how bad Solaire was in the original, like, poor guy. You'd summon him in here, and like, these Black Knights would just abuse him. They would just beat him like a piñata. Now, the reason I'm going slow is because if you're not careful here, you can aggro 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And you only want to aggro 1 of them at a time. Or is it when you run through? No, when you run through, you aggro 2 of them. Ow. Don't beat Solaire. Stop. Like, look. He hit him once. Like, he glanced him once, and then he actually hit him once. Look at his health. Like, Solaire, look, I'm not sure if you're gonna make it, buddy. Like, I really hope you do, but I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure you're gonna make it. Ultimately, we're just gonna end up making Gwyn harder for us. Remember when there was the theory, like early in the Souls days, and I'm sorry about the train. Early in the Souls days, there was the theory, which I believe has been debunked. I mean, I still chose to believe it for a long time, that Solaire was Gwyn's son. Like, there were some clues in the game that kind of... But I think it's been proven that Andre is supposed to be Gwyn's son. But honestly, you guys know me, I'm not a lore buff when it comes to Souls. But imagine how messed up it was that you brought Gwyn's son to see his father in this state. I missed the parry. I'm disappointed. Stop that. Got him. None of that, sir. No, Solaire, don't die. Oh my god, Solaire is chunking him, though. Whoa! Get him, Solaire! Oh my god, he was actually chunking him like he didn't have good health, but damn if he wasn't doing some chunky hits. Relax, Solaire. He's gone. Oh, Solaire even got the last hit. I'm legitimately surprised. Like, did Gwyn not get buffed with Solaire coming in? Like, I feel like Gwyn didn't have that much health, considering that there was 2 of us. Considering there was both me and Solaire, like, I'm really surprised. Gwyn went down like a chump. He just straight up went down like a chump. Now, in here, you get 2 choices, despite the fact that they don't specifically tell you, which, again, is another one of those things that I find really cool. Like, you don't actually know that you have 2 choices. Like, you know, you've been working your whole way towards kindling the bonfire. Probably, I don't remember what Kaith says when you do the Kaith quest line. Kath, again, I don't know how to pronounce it. But he doesn't tell you if you get to the kiln of the first flame, turn back. He just tells you don't kindle the flame. But then you're left wondering, like, well, what am I supposed to do if I'm not supposed to, you know, because kindling the flame feels like it's the only thing you can do. You just go there and you kindle the flame. I remember I went all over this place after killing him, you know, looking for any potential item or anything. But basically, this is it. This is the ending of the game. No matter what you do, you're not leaving. At least, I don't think you get to leave this room without finishing the game. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I think it always finishes the game. But either way, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that you guys know how the cheese tactics that I was trying to do on Gwyn the first time that I came here, because Gwyn was just like beating the crap out of me. I remember the very first time I got to Gwyn, my cheese tactic was like, dude, I'm gonna get this stupid friggin', like, I think I got Havel's armor. Like, my character couldn't even move because Havel's was like, I mean, he could move, but he couldn't even roll with Havel's because it was so heavy and my stats were just all over the place. And this was not recorded in a video anywhere. So my character could barely move. And so I was like, well, if I can barely move, I can use this pyromancy spell, which was, what was it called? Iron Flesh? I forget, the one that basically transforms you into iron. So I would come in here and I'd be like, power within, iron flesh, Havel's armor. Just like tank through Gwyn. Like in true Ironbreaker fashion, I would just like tank through everything and kill them that way. Oh man, the first time I killed Gwyn was like, it was one for the books, man. It was just one for the books, because like you just don't forget it, right? Like, sure, was it cheesy? Yes, but I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to play the game properly, dude. I was running in here with friggin' Havel's, Iron Flash, all of that stuff. Oh my God, I used to be so arrogant back then too, Jesus Christ. Because like I just reminded myself how I used to watch ENB videos and I'd be like, psh, I'm better than him. We're so much more arrogant when we're young, dude. So much more arrogant. Oh man. But anyway, there's only one way to finish this playthrough. There's only one way, gentlemen. I'll see you guys on the other side. Hopefully, you've all enjoyed Souls and Chat. And probably the next Souls project that I do is going to be Fractured World Demon Souls. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. But thank you all very much for taking this journey with me once again. See you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed this series, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, hit the dislike button. Feedback is important. Usually enjoy my content, subscribe, bell notification icon, all that jazz. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
My lord, bless thy safe return. Let Calf and Fravt serve your highness. We are here to serve your highness. Let the true dark be cast upon the world. Our Lord hath returned.
brave soul who fears not death. I shall guide you to the fissure. So that you may lull the old one back to slumber.